What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of LJ Fishing. Today, going over baitfish, how they move, when they move, and how that corresponds with bass fishing. Now, obviously, we're going over the baitfish for bass. So, the main baitfish that a bass goes after, number one, not in any particular order, shad. 2, bluegill. 3 is a crawfish. We need to remember that. Those are the 3 main bait fish that your bass are going after. Now, I want you to remember one thing for sure, and the most important thing about understanding bait fish and bass fishing is that the bass follow the bait fish. Remember that. Bass follow the bait fish. So if your bait fish are deep, your bass are going to be deep. If your bait fish are shallow, your bass are going to be shallow. I hope that makes sense. So now we're just going to basically go over times of the year where the bait fish are, when they're moving, why they're moving. So right now, winter time, water's still cold. Bait fish are deep. They're deep, their metabolism's low, they're not moving much, they're kind of just resting. So wherever your bait fish are, your bass are. So your bass are down deep. They're deeper, they're going to be in the main body of the lake right now. They're not going to be probably up in like little fingers and little rivers and channels, stuff like that. They're going to be in the main body of water down deep, where the bait fish are. Now when the water temperature starts rising, you're gonna have, getting close to your spawning time, your pre-spawn time. Your first fish coming up, that your first fish that's gonna be coming up to spawn is gonna be like a crappie. Your crappie's gonna come up, they're gonna spawn, and then after that, you're gonna have, your bluegill, they're going to be coming up to spawn. Now, we need to remember, when your bait fish start moving, your bass start moving, because that's their meal. So, when the water temperature is a little colder, like early in the spring or late in the winter, you got to remember the bass metabolism are low. They're not looking for huge meals. They're not looking for frequent meals. Okay, they're slow moving, and they're looking for just an easy meal. So if you're fishing for a bass that time of the year, you're not fishing fast. You're fishing slow, and you're not throwing big baits. You're throwing a smaller scaled bait, because the bass aren't looking for a lot of work to eat something. They want easy, quick bite to eat. Then they're going to go back to resting. But anyway, your crappie come up to spawn, your bluegill are coming up to spawn. That means your bass are starting to follow. Now your bluegill, they're going to move up into like all the little fingers and the little creeks and the little channels, stuff like that. That's where your bass are going to follow. Bluegill are going to find kind of a hard bottom area to set up their beds and to spawn. That's where your bass are going to be. I hope this concept makes sense, that your bass follow your bait fish. After that, your bass are going to get ready to spawn. The bass are going to do the same thing the bluegill did. They're going to move up. They're going to move into the shallower water. The reason they're moving to shallower water is because the water temp is the warmest there. It's going to be the part of the lakes that warm up the fastest, the shallow little creeks and rivers and stuff. Or not necessarily rivers, but like little creeks, the channels, stuff like that. That's what's going to warm up first and fastest. So that's where they're going to spawn. Keep that in mind, because where your bait fish are, your bass are. So if that's where your bait fish and your bass are, that's where you need to be. Anyway, your bass are going to move up shallow to spawn. And they're looking for some bigger meals around this time, and they're munching. Now, after that, your shad are going to come up and spawn later on, And your shad are not the same. They don't sit there and they don't make a bed. Shad are they're like a moving spawner. They jump around. They drop a load off. They move. They drop another load off. They move. They drop another load off. So shad do not spawn like your normal fish. They move around. They don't make beds. Okay. Now, when your shad are spawning in the shallow waters, like around rocky areas, is kind of a common spot for shad. This is when your bass are going to be going nuts. This is the time of the year where you're throwing shad-colored baits. You're throwing your sexy shads, your white spinner baits, your white chatter baits, things like that that look like a shad. Now, remember to keep this in mind as well. When you're fishing for bass in certain lakes, you're doing what's called matching the hatch. So matching the hatch means whatever color of bait fish is that the primary bait fish in that lake is the color of baits you're going to be throwing. So if you have a primary shad lake for your bass bait fish, you're not going to be throwing greens and brown. You're going to be throwing whites and silvers, something shinier that looks a lot more like a shad. Now, if your primary bait fish is a bluegill, you're going to be throwing more of your greens, your darker colors, not your whites that look like a shad. Now, usually you're going to have both bait fish in the lake, so you just got to kind of find what the bass are eating more and find what's working. You got to try different things. Bass fishing is not easy. It's a complicated process, but one of the number one things to help you become the best angler possible is to understand bait fish. So learn as much as you can about bait fish, because the bass follow what they eat, which means you need to follow what they eat to find them. But yeah, so early in the year, you're throwing your springtime, like number one springtime bait that I use in Indiana is a jerk bait. Usually go the shad color jerk bait, and that is just kills them in the spring for me. I love it, absolutely love that bait. Suspending jerk bait. So suspending means that when you quit cranking it, it's gonna still stay in the same water column level. It's not gonna float back to the top. And this is awesome because it stays down in the strike zone longer that way. That's a great bait for the spring. As the water temps start warming up, your bait fish are going to move out into deeper water. They don't want to be in the warm water anymore. They're trying to get to a little bit cooler water that's more comfortable. So hopefully I don't have to remind you this, but if your bait fish are moving back out, they're moving back out of the fingers and stuff, and they're heading back down to the main lake. They're getting down deep, deeper on the ledges and stuff. That's where your bait fish are going. So hopefully you understand that that's where your bass are going. So this is middle of summertime. You're fishing deeper. You're fishing ledges, in the main lake, or like mouths of creeks and stuff where there's a good drop, or out from boat docks, so there's a nice little drop off. Areas like that. A good thing to remember is that bass like sharper drops. So they want to have easy access to shallow water and easy access to deeper water, all in the same spot. So that means a sharper drop, more of a drop off, the better. Because if they'll pick a drop off that's more like this, as opposed to a drop off that's more like this, because they can get to shallow or deeper water faster. So remember that when you're looking for a spot in the summer. Now, summer baits, you're looking, your deep divers. You can do square bills. Jigs work amazing. Jigs are one of my favorite baits. But yeah, a lot of times in the summer, I'll even throw a frog up in like little pads and stuff. Because a lot of times bass will also hang out there, get in that thick cover and kind of get out of the sunlight. That's a good spot. But yeah, jigs. Jigs are the number one all year round bait in my personal opinion. I would throw a jig any time of the year and be fairly successful. But yeah, summertime you're looking for your deeper baits, something you're gonna run along the bottom, down on those breaks and stuff a little more. So yeah, you're still matching your hatch. So you're throwing either your bluegill, your crawfish, or your shad colored baits. You just want them to get down a little deeper, and you're throwing it in a little deeper water. Um, Now your water temp starts getting cooler again, starts getting closer to fall. Um, you're throwing, this is the time of the year you're throwing your biggest baits. I mean, the fish are looking for their biggest meal as possible. They're looking for huge meals. They're looking to get ready to go back to that slow motion, low metabolism winter. So they're looking for big meals, and they're moving fast. Summer and early fall, the bass are moving fast. They're quick. You can use a bigger bait, and you can burn it more. Early in the year, late in the year, when they're slowing down, you want to slow your approach down. The bass slow down, you slow down. The baitfish slow down, you slow down. It all works together, guys. Um, so I understand baitfish are such a big deal. Now in the fall time, um, a lipless crankbait works good, like a rattle trap or something. I use Strike King brand, the red eye ones. Those work good. Also really good as a search bait too. If you're looking to cover a lot of water fast and see if you can get a bite, like tournament practice stuff like that. The lipless crankbaits are awesome for that, and they're a killer in the fall as well. But yeah, this is the time of year you're throwing bigger presentations, and you're you're trying to get them a good last meal before the end of the year. That's when you're gonna catch your biggest bass, in my opinion. If you're gonna catch a big bass, this is the time of the year to do it. But yeah, so yeah, when your bait fish move back up shallower to get a little bit warmer water in the fall, your bass are following. Then when it gets real cold again for winter, they're going to start moving off into the main body of water and down deep again for their low metabolism. They're going to slow down for the off season, and you're pretty much going to be done fishing at that point. I mean, usually you're going to get ice, at least around here in Indiana. We're going to get ice, and then you're going to be ice fishing. But yeah, I hope this video kind of helped you understand um, bait fish and how important understanding the bait fish are to bass fishing, because bass follow what they eat. So if you're following what they're eating and you're throwing things that look like what they're eating, it should work out pretty well for you this upcoming season here. Anyway, I hope that helped out a little bit. If it did, please hit the like button, subscribe. We're going to be doing a giveaway here soon. To get this channel rolling again. I haven't posted in a while. I apologize for that. But yeah, we're about to pick up. We're about to get out fishing. The boat is coming out here soon, out of storage. And like I said, we're going to do a giveaway for sure. A decent giveaway. So stay tuned and hit the subscribe button, guys. Thanks for watching another episode of LJ Fishing. Have a good one.